Hello and welcome to IABM TV. I'm delighted to be joined today by Neil Berry, Chief Revenue Officer, and Miles Weaver, Marketing Director for Airbeem. Gentlemen, welcome to IABM TV.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Neil, can you start by telling us who is Airbeem?
Yeah, so we're a relatively new company in the video ecosystem that's trying to be a little bit innovative and disruptive. And we're taking the market from a perspective of looking at the whole end-to-end OTT experience for direct-to-consumer premium content owners, and coming at it from a front-end user experience perspective. For a long time, people have developed all those apps separately on the different devices that they need to reach their audiences with. We have productized that into an end-to-end platform and provide an engine that you could rapidly deploy all of those different applications around your user experience that you're creating around your content across every device. And then we're layering into that a frictionless way for you to effectively monetize that content, whatever the business models are, whether it be AVOD or SVOD or TVOD or the blend of all of those, and making that out of the box. And the third dimension to really where we're driving some unique value is creating the insights that you need from a data perspective of all the KPIs of understanding how you can drive a profitable business. That is the kind of the Airbeem platform, and then we work with many of the different partners that provide online video platforms in the market.
Okay, so Neil, you mentioned monetization there. Do you offer monetization templates as well?
Yes, we do, and we feel that's really critically important because previously the monetization strategies that people have had means a lot of systems integration work depending on which business model you're trying to do. We believe that we want to create that capability that's already pre-integrated and layered into the UI UX. So it becomes configurable to you, and you should be able to implement a mix and match of all those different business models in a hybrid way and an easy to use way that drives rapid time to value. So as soon as you launch, you're gaining new subscribers, or you're driving advertising revenue, or you're driving your pay-per-view revenue, or any blend of those, and that's what we're trying to make that easier and configurable for customers, okay. and templated, from the ground up.
Yeah. Okay, so Miles, why is using Airbeem a high quality and cost-effective way for businesses to stream their content?
So I think there's a couple of things there really. The first one is, because we're an out-of-the-box solution, it's a very, very quick way to get to your customers and get to market quickly. Also because we're an out-of-the-box solution and we're built on a SaaS-based revenue model, our upfront costs are quite low. So for a lot of the kind of clients that we're talking to that are, genre specialist, and in many cases sort of niche content, they don't have enormous budgets that they can throw towards an online video platform and a video service. So with it being fully out of the box and with it being SaaS based, it means they can get to market quickly, but they can also do it at a rate and at a cost that is acceptable to them over the long term. It means that we're invested in their success long term as well. So it can become quite a cost effective but also a very powerful partnership over the longer term.
Which is fully scalable as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So that they can try it and then build it up.
Yeah. They can grow the business, grow the service at a rate that suits them as a business.
Okay. So Neil, your customers are typically mid-market users. What sort of companies are you looking to attract?
Well, it's kind of interesting. It's difficult to define really what the middle market is now. I guess when you look at the traditional barriers to entry for the top tier guys has been, super long delivery times, and the technology has been super expensive. When you look at niche content owners, and there are more channels that might be just on linear today that are looking to be on every device in multi-territories, those barriers have gone away now, and the technology is now affordable and in the cloud. So anyone that has premium content that wants to perhaps go to direct to consumer for the first time, you might consider them middle market, but there are some quite very large brands that you would probably say they're tier one brands. However, they've never done a video solution that goes direct to the consumer before, because they may have gone via the traditional distribution route or gone via YouTube. Now they're re-establishing their brand directly with their audience, and hence they're looking for their owned and operated platform. So the middle market can be a mix of large brands, anyone with premium content, to some of the smaller brands that previously this technology has not been made affordable, and those barrier to entries have really fallen away. So they can drive their direct to consumer very quickly and launch very rapidly within 2 to 3 months, okay. Which they couldn't previously do.
Okay. And so you recently launched a white paper this week, I believe. Miles, can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, so the white paper really takes quite a holistic view of the direct-to-consumer space as a whole. So it's sort of split up into two parts. The first one is very much focused on how this rise in direct-to-consumer services has happened and why it's sort of really exploded over the past sort of 12 to 18 months. As Neil mentioned, more and more brands are seeing now the possibilities behind taking their content off aggregator services. They might still retain a presence there, but not have that be their exclusive outlet, and build a direct-to-consumer service. As I said, we've really seen in the last 12 to 18 months that's really exploded. So the first part of the white paper very much sort of explores how and why that has happened in the industry, the different trends, the different kind of audience behaviors that have made that more viable and a more interesting route for many brands to go down. The second part then looks at Airbeem as a company and our platform and how our platform answers many of the questions and the challenges that direct-to-consumer video companies might have when they think about taking their audience online. So it's very much a twofold thing. We explore the industry as a whole and we explore the challenges, and then obviously because it's a white paper that we've written, we also explore how our solution through things like analytics, integrated commerce, customizable user experience, how those things can be combined together in our platform, and how our platform does that fairly uniquely as a way to answer the questions and the challenges of video companies that are going in that direct-to-consumer route.
And so this is available on your website?
Yes, it is, yes. It's available on airbeem.com, and we wrote it in partnership also with VideoNet, who are hosting on their website as well.
Okay. And so I'm sure it's mentioned in the report, but can you tell us why do you feel direct-to-consumer is such a key growth area for OTT?
So I think it's a twofold thing, really. The first, as I sort of mentioned, and as Neil has mentioned, a lot of companies, big companies previously were more or less solely relying on aggregator services to get their content out to market. And because technology has become more affordable, it's more rapidly deployable now, it means that a lot of these brands can get their content out to market quicker on a platform that they own. And the second part of the advantage there in terms of why it's become such a thing now is because once you own a platform, you also own the audience that's coming to that platform. You're not having to take all your analytics from whatever YouTube allows you to have, or you're not having to take all your analytics from whatever aggregator service you might be on. So you can own the relationship with your consumers much more directly. You can get much more deep insight into how they're viewing your content, how they're engaging with your content, how they're engaging with your service. You can then improve your service and thus improve their impression of you as a brand because you're tailoring to meet their needs. So you own that relationship, and then obviously, you're probably reducing costs because you're not purely relying on aggregator services you may well have to pay for to be on, or at least share some of the revenue with. So there's a number of different things in there that are really advantageous for brands. In terms of the flip side of the coin, you've also got consumers who are saying, previously, I like content X, I want to see more of it. But if it's on an aggregator service, I can't necessarily do that because you've only got what the service will let you have. With direct-to-consumer, viewers are now saying, oh, well, I can go and subscribe directly to the owner or the producer of this content and I can get as much of it as I want. Yeah. So it enables viewers, especially kind of niche content genres, those viewers that are really passionate and really engaged about the content, they can now binge on as much of it as they want, which is really advantageous for them.
Yeah,
so
I think that you're then moved to an a la carte experience, right? Yeah. So we as a consumer can choose exactly where we get our content through, and we don't have to go through those aggregators. And I think that lastly, that the whole market is being fueled by many major brands that are going direct to consumer for the first time, and they are super brands. And what that's doing is fueling all the other niche brands to take back control and do their own owned and operated platform to drive that consumer experience. And then us as consumers, we can get the content wherever we want. It's one destination where I can get all my reality TV content, all my sports content, all my kids content, rather than mix and match and go find that in all these different linear experiences.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Neil and Miles, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
You can find out more about all of these services we've spoken about and download the white paper from airbeem.com.